So this time I'm going to take this angle grinder and make a chop saw out of it to get those nice 90 degrees cuts at this perfect angle every time. Let's get going.
Click on Zombie Apocalypse.
Okay, so material wise and plan wise, how I plan to do this is take 4 pieces of square tubing that's laid out in a rectangular shape like this. I'm going to weld them together in the 4 corners properly. At the moment they're just tack welded to keep them in place. I would then want to take 2 shorter pieces of square tubing, mount them in an upright position over there on the one end, and then on the angle grinder itself I want to take a piece of angle iron like so, that's big enough, and on the top side I want to drill a hole through it and mount it with a bolt in the hole where the handle normally goes. And then the handle itself, I'll drill another hole over here and I'll weld a nut at the bottom, and the handle can be inserted over there out of the way so that that doesn't interfere with the grinder itself. The reason for everything on top is so that there's no interference on the bottom side when you want to cut something, so you'll be able to get a bit more depth when you cut into something. So when that piece of angle iron is in place like that, I then want to take a piece of rectangular tubing, and with a bolt or also threaded rod can also work, I want to mount it between those 2 upright pieces, and then not like this, sorry, not the other way, like this. And then the grinder with the angle iron, I want to weld the angle iron to the rectangular tubing like so, attach the grinder to there with a bolt, and on the back side also I just want to weld wherever necessary. If this is going to be mounted like so, for instance, just want to weld a support onto the rectangular tubing as well, just so that this is easily removable and replaceable should you want to, with merely a bolt, and whatever needs to keep it in place needs to be in place here already, just like a cradle where it can lay into, perhaps a clamp even. We'll see what it works out with. So that's the main plan. So once the angle grinder is attached to this and these 2 are upright like so, and this is connected with a bolt through there, this should simply be able to move up and down, and the angle grinder would be able to cut through whatever piece of metal or rectangular tubing or square tubing you lay on top of this. Now for the base here, I'm only going to weld 1 or 2 pieces of support, as well as perhaps a clamp to hold if you put a piece of angle iron or square tubing or whatever in there, to maybe keep it in place and clamp it in place so that you're able to cut it off. Well, I'll maybe even also make a double or dual type of clamp, so I can maybe have a couple of angles there so you'll be able to clamp it in more than one position. But we'll get more into detail a bit later on in the build. For now, let me get the base frame welded together with the uprights and everything, and this to the welder bolted with the holes filled in, and we'll take it from there. What have I done? Well, let me show you what I've done to make it easier. The main stand, I've welded everything together, the square, the supports and everything. I've welded a piece of nut here, or a tube nut over there, so that I can adjust a piece of threaded rod through there with a stop. I've also made this guide, which is 90 degrees towards the blade, made a hole over there which I can put a bolt in. At the bottom of this hole, of all these holes, I've welded a nut on the other side just to keep it in place, and you can tighten it. This is for the 90 degree one. I've also made another one for 45 degrees over there, which I can also then insert the bolt and tighten it in place. That will then be a 45 degree angle. But let's see how this looks with everything together. Okay, the handle I've made. For the support at the back, I attached a clamp, a normal hose clamp, which can hold the back side of the grinder in place. At the back, I put a spring between the arm and the base, so that if this is released or let go, it would return to the top and it would be a slight bit more controllable. I've also welded 4 foot pieces at the bottom to make space for the nuts and stuff that I've done at the bottom. Also makes it a bit more steady. So let's see how this works. Screw out the handle of the grinder like originally planned. be gone the handle. And then take this extremely long, unnecessary long cord, put it through the clamp, put it through all the way, put the body of the grinder through like so, come back handle, put the handle on top. I decided to just use the handle to tighten the grinder on top there. It's so much easier, you don't need a tool, and it keeps it in place pretty sturdy. Clamp at the back using a screwdriver or a wrench or your teeth or whatever you feel like using today. Use it, you just tighten it so that the grinder is held in place. Steady, solid like that. That's solid. This is good direction in or good solid connection in all directions. And now if you were to put something in the space over there, like a piece of iron or anything, like such, you can put this in there, you can hold it in place, and if your switch is on, you can simply grind it off at 90 degrees. Or if you would adjust this thing, like I've done with the sample over here, it would cut it off at 50 degrees. Or 45 degrees, not 50 degrees. So, this is what it looks like. Let's turn it around a bit like so, just so you can get a better view. And from here you can see as well that it would cut fairly nice and steady. If you let it go, it returns up, so it doesn't stay down there and wouldn't cut anything that's not supposed to. After I've put in the threaded rod here with a stop at the end, it will hold whatever piece of material or anything else that you're working with. It'll hold it in place, clamp it against the stop over here. It'll be held in 90 degrees or 45 degrees. I can probably measure some more angles like 30 degrees and 60 degrees and so on. But that's for a bit later on. So I'm quite happy with the way this thing came out. It's pretty sturdy. Spring at the back making a bit of a noise, but that's alright, I can live with that. Another reason for the foot pieces is so that the blade, if it goes through past the supports over here, it would not cut into the table. So it's a bit lifted up as well now. So this came out pretty good. Let's quickly plug it in and see what it looks like when it's switched on. Like so. A very nice 90-degree angle. Let's quickly measure this. I haven't actually measured these things. Look at that. Spectacular. Can you believe that is so square? That's exactly 90 degrees. No gaps whatsoever of any kind. And the same with the 45 degree. A bit difficult to measure 45 with this thing, but let's give it a try. Put this in solid against it. Like so. Look at that. Exactly 45 degrees. And this was done with the same sand. I only adjusted the arm over here to the 45 degree mark. And this worked wonderful. If you put that thing to the top to make space to work, works very well as well. Nothing in your way. Now I did sand this thing a slight bit because just going to sand it a bit more. Here's the extra hole for the 45 degrees place. Made me give it a fresh coat of paint. Put in the stopper over here. And you'll see it in the profile picture or in the video picture to see what it looks like in the end. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you like this idea, you like the video, and you like all the other type of projects that I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. Give me 2 thumbs ups. That's even better. And also subscribe if you haven't done so already. So until next time, thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.